Good evening. I have mostly some pre-assembled segments to put together today. Okay, that is just fine. Alright, let me switch over to the view I have pulled up where we will not have a microphone going. I'm playing some music from my friend first, just for a continuous segment while I finish organizing all the notes and scripts and files I'll be playing in this segment. Okay, no more music part. Now we're getting all the narration segments lined up here for the main episode. While it is difficult to decide what should come in order, what should constitute one of these segments, I have just been freeform developing over the past couple of months. 1 month precisely from October 13th till now, but I had been drafting prior to that, so now we're going to present what I consider to be the main finished narrations out of that stack. Let me pull up the reference here. Okay, I got an introduction to this with 2 Watts narrations here. Let's switch over to full screen. First one, dehumanize Watts. Okay, that's good. Let's put that up. A fitting quote for today's America. Reasonable, that is, human men will always be capable of compromise, but men who have dehumanized themselves by becoming blind worshippers of an idea or an ideal or ideology are fanatics whose devotion to abstractions makes them the enemies of life. The Way of Zen, 1957. I find this quote to be equally fitting. Until, as a consequence of the teaching of the German and Flemish mystics in the 15th century, there began to be such movements as the Anabaptists, the Brothers of the Free Spirit, the Levelers, and the Quakers. A spiritual movement which came to this country and founded a republic and not a monarchy. And how could you say that a republic is the best form of government if you think the universe is a monarchy? Obviously, if God is top on a monarchy, monarchy is the best form of government. But you see, ever so many citizens of this republic think they ought to believe that the universe is a monarchy, and therefore they're always at odds with the republic. It is from principally white, racist Christians that we have the threat of fascism in this country. Because you see, they have a religion which is militant, which is not the religion of Jesus, which was the realization of divine sonship, but the religion about Jesus, which pedestalizes him and which says that only this man out of all the sons and women is divine, and you'd better recognize it. And so it speaks of itself as the church militant, the onward Christian soldiers marching us to war, utterly exclusive, convinced in advance of examining the doctrines of any other religion that it is the top religion. And so it becomes a freak religion, just as it has made a freak of Jesus, an unnatural man. Now, I don't think you see that until churches get with that, they're going to have very much relevance. Okay, now we have Minecraft screen again with 3 pre-assembled narration stacks.
I I watch my baby get colder, I see her slip in a misstep. I put on Teflon and text off until I whip like my wrist wet, my engine forward. I floor it, my soul got stolen, I'm for it. Whether in Florida or foreign, I'll always find you in distance. I rock the Red Wings on weekends, I sleep on bed springs that weekend just so my baby stay warmer. I wipe her tears on my shoulder, wear a Figaro bum collar, but it's dead money to me. They take my head off on offer, I'll always speak what I mean.
Steve screaming scrape life, running through the red light. Blacked out tint so you can't see my red eye. House on Vista Way, on my homie headlock. 5 steps, melodies, we getting high. Wonder if you still got the necklace that I gave you. Shit that I felt was like a dopamine breakthrough. Now I stay cold like my dear pops made do. Shame on a soul trying to hate and face. Come up with a
Most channels excuse themselves from politics. However, I can't do that. I cannot do it. My channel necessarily involves the politics of my inclusion model. So all copyright and fair use DMCA conversation falls directly into the slice of what I'm about. As a channel, I do politics. My politics are that of the creative, the politics of peace and inclusion, which is, for us as a social organism, to hear each other and see each other and not to be suppressed. That's where harm reduction as a battle standard, as a creative monk educator platform comes from, is for us not to be suppressed, for us to promote healing and to resist and refuse coercion and muting and being hidden. The battle shout originally said, what we're searching for is you. What I've come here to find is you. That's the treasure. That's the loot at the end after you've battled all the bosses, gone through every floor in the dungeon, gotten to the end, and you encounter the loot. That's you. That's yourself. That's the thing you're trying to get. That's what you're trying to find. So my politics are super duper unambiguous because I want everybody to be included in seeing and hearing each other. I can and will talk to anyone and everyone for an indefinite amount of time on an undefinable amount of hours about this. I will debate anybody who thinks otherwise, who disagrees with creativity. Basically, that's anybody who thinks they should get to suppress others. They are the de-individualizers. I call them the non-celebrators and the celebration crashers. Those are the prickly people that I know I would never convince them, but what we have to do is reduce the harm of what they're doing upon everybody else. That's what harm reduction is for. Trying to feel like I'm gonna stare at something, but I kind of also feel like I'm going to do Set Off and Keep once before that. For some reason, there's one viewer-ish at some times enjoying what I do, and I am doing this for you. Whoever you won and whoever else is hidden out there. I wrote a short declaration on this when I was running my playlist. And I'm going to replay it right now, and I'm going to integrate this in along with my fair use notice. This is why we're here, to try and share the most perfect and most complete peace that can exist from the deepest, inmost heart of human-heartedness. Whoever comes in here just to hang out and listen to this creativity, you're appreciated. You should be here just connecting to the energy. You don't have to have a conversation here. Because we're about creativity, and creativity is very often silent, if not most of the time, completely silent. I did draft a little narration I was going to put on the streaming today. Let me check the sound levels here. I don't know, I think this background sound is pretty good, but I need to actually listen to how it sounds in the mix from the stream. Haven't really checked the sound at all today. Let's work on this. How it sounds in the mix from the stream. No, it sounds really good. Okay. I'll just read this narration. It's all assembled together up on my project site. So working hard is the means to develop skill, by which we can have pleasure. You can have pleasure in life without skill, says Alan Watts during a talk about the secret of life. By having the pleasure, you're having the XP, or knowledge, of what there is, what life is about. Creative peace. Working hard enjoyably is precedent to any good thing. That's the great thing, that the working is good, and is an expression of something good, which flows forth from the field of forces here. What exactly are the field of forces here? You. One may identify oneself as the entire field of forces, which orients all crafting progress as simply finding out what was already there, and already within your field of forces. Peaceful craft. The film Cave Digger was perhaps the first particle of this peaceful craft perspective that I ever encountered. But studying Alan Watts' Zen, the art of combining an exciting life with complete immersion in what you're doing now, is what allowed me to scan the information I contain and really know and express it. Watts circles this back to a very practical insight. Better to have a short life spent doing what you enjoy than a long one doing things you don't like. Intelligence means the creative, leave it alone to show exactly what it's trying to be of itself. Non-panic, celebration-conscious thing that is human contact. The illness is disconnection. Intelligence is generative. By accessing the field of forces that is you, whatever is generated by those forces comes forth to be seen. It comes to manifest as what can be crafted. I am holding an idea which will transform the archaic society not understanding how to employ its tech and inventions into a social organism that actually looks like an intelligent meta-organism, using its technology to make central, as social contract, the human noble aim, creative peace and peaceful craft, the feeling of being fulfilled and purposeful, where dystopia is the population being deprived of this, or depriving itself, as it were, by watching to do punishments and bossing instead of just letting it be what it is. The Zen of Replaying for either Wander or for Zoom. This has an image interlude which I am placing into the view right now. The Zen of Replaying for either Wander or for Zoom. The attainments and progression koan leads us along a path where eventually the gains and growth take place in the player, while points and equipment, non-combat or decorative treasures accumulate incidentally for joy itself, not optimized or maximized performance. And then, we spend the time in the game places to eventually zoom this mind open space in world record times, simply as a reason to soak in the joy of inhabiting that place of human imagination for the countless hours spent perfecting every skip, skill shot, and boss mechanic. Okay, part 3 I recorded yesterday. It was actually November 12th, a couple days ago. Good evening. This is 10/25/20. Just kidding. This is 11/12/20. 1 year after the story becomes manifest to my conscious waking life. Title: The Zen Paradox. On 10/25/20. I've witnessed the meaning of the creative peace that is conveyed when I play important games and speak about human contact. I've discovered what my stream looks like. Today, the realization that I have now viewed what my stream looks like after concepting it 1 year ago, 10/24/19. First concept: a guide or game fac about adventure, featuring on-screen and verbal content from Watts and all the gaming experiences I love. I wrote a few things resonating these feelings, having done so. The list as a cosmic item in your inventory is an instructional object whereby you can collaborate with you in order to create. The list instructs you in the actions you want, how and when, order, duration, repetition/rhythm. The ground point and the edge of where you're conscious are what constitute perceptible reality. Education is the path walked as one comes closer and closer with oneself. Human contact. Toddlers experience rage trying to do any given action. Frustration whose only cure is joyful distraction. The game is the medicine. Disconnection is the illness. Important games. My game centrally holds up an idea of holy secret spaces between the cracks of a society that is obsessed with harming each other. Places where no Nazi ever comes to tell us we aren't allowed. It raises this dream state, peering into well-lit, warm spaces from outside at night. The full essence of human contact is blinding warmth, heat, whispering. The first plateau is a slightly euphoric, sensory vivid, gentle hum. The second plateau is a swirling pendulum, connecting to your verbal stream, like glasses, but for word usage. The third plateau is a resting place. A warm fire glows, quietly narrating an unspeakable, still calm. What I am creating is abstract, but completely focused. What it is focused on is human contact, the mystical experience that art making is. So much of that is only able to be conveyed in nonverbal. I need things like the door, speech eye, joker card, purple square, on, etc. Next, I'm going to do 3 Reddit question comments. Question 1 from Absorbed Sky 312. Part 1. I don't know what to do after listening to Alan Watts. It's like it makes me feel like I'm screwed no matter what I do. I'm just panicking because there is really nothing you can tell me to do because it already is what it is. But it's comforting to have a strategy and a plan for what to do next. Maybe I found him too early on and I need to suffer more to get the point. BTW, don't ask me who is panicking. I've heard that before. You're not helpful for long. Response 1. In the Joker talk, he says, there's nothing left when you get to the realization but to have a good laugh. For me, I had to go all the way down into it to reach that laughing point. I studied and re-listened, many repeats. I have been contemplating this message for the last year. When I first heard the Joker was October 2019. I want to comment somehow about the idea that one would need to experience more suffering. I just can't seem to make it into words. The path of hedonism only leads to hangovers. Asceticism is no different. The middle way is about the slime man. It's a sudden jump from the wrong idea that anyone could be better or worse than anyone else to seeing that everything is totally dependent and interconnected. I guess my entire education mental health project is the art that spills out as I attempt to talk about this and can't because it's almost completely, and I cannot write any more adequate comment conveying this to you than the above sentence. Question number 2 is part 2 from the same post. The initial anxiety mainly comes from trying to do schoolwork. I'm so anxious about all the assignments I have to do that the anxiety prevents me from doing any of them. I cannot seem to force myself to work on it. I only know how to beat myself up about it and tell myself why I should be doing it. Response 2. I couldn't force myself to do the useless stupidity work either, so I just allowed myself not to use force. I let myself off the hook. Society/authority has not been kind to me for this. Interlude, Ron Swanson. Don't worry, I have a permit. He holds up the permit. It's a handwritten piece of paper that says, I can do what I want. Signed, Ron. You don't have to do it. They act like you have to. You don't have to. What you need to do is express what is true. Bring forth what you already contain. I am creating a project to do that, to share my inmost joy. I believe this is the ultimate mythos-level message in the Watts masterpieces of wordcraft, that you need to discover what reality is and express and resonate it. This is human contact. It's mystical, to confront our inmost joy and show it to each other. If you don't, you are simply resisting what's real, pretending it isn't. That piles up on you. It weighs on you. So it's really ultimately better to have the short life filled with doing what you like than long ones spent doing things you do not like. Question 3. Title, Watching the Watcher. From Major Minor 999. I've been following Alan Watts for some years now and really learning a lot about meditation and the ego. There's this lecture he has where he's using the police chasing the thieves and the thieves go up to the next level each time analogy that was taking me a bit of time to understand. That is, until a few days ago, when I realized that the watching self is also another persona created, or in my ego. Wow. Alan has been talking about that in a lot of his lectures, and it clicked to me just recently. Ha ha ha. So then, my question is, if real meditation is not the watcher watching the ego, and not the watcher watching the ego, then what is meditation in Watts' terms? Just a pure letting go? Lecture reference, Mind Over Mind. Side note, there are many lectures that this comes up in, many of which are included in the fragments of my compilations. Answer 3. It's self-forgetting, basically. Meditation is every and all actions that you can do, which are being done in their own excellence, and usually you're experiencing a great deal of fun in the total sustained action of whatever it is. The favorite talk that brings this as a main conclusion point is, do you do it or does it do you? It's $15 on Sounds True, and there's literally no better use of $15. See also, I study speedrunners and other types of skill-oriented video game personalities, or like Tiger Woods, for example. Golf is not a video game, it's a regular game. And they described that no mind, Mushin state. You almost just forget you're controlling a body. It's a sensation. To put this across in mechanical words, approximately, you cannot do these actions. You can only auto-do them. You have to overstand, not understand. That's what is meant when Watts describes skill. He means gaining the automaticity of expressing what's already here. You're fully with it. Okay, that's the end of the 3 Reddit question comments. Now I have a finale note, which occurred in the height of these feelings of viewing what my stream looks like. The finale note actually goes at the end, so I will resume that one after the upcoming narrations here. Part 4, follow-up to this voice note. So, the secret is stopping self-coercion. As one realizes that education is the process of being brought together with oneself, getting with it, human contact starts in one. No one is contacting any one without contacting just one first. The Matrix tries to make us follow the forcing mandate, to use force on oneself. But you don't have to. If you try, you're putting what it actually is into jail, a container. You're binding it somewhere, and peace can't be there where it's bound. It is bound where peace isn't. Parenthetically, abandon this use of force. Put down the impossible weight of bossing the destiny. It can't be done. There's no way to jail it in a container. You have to open the container and float away. This is punctuated by the door from my Zen Paradox mythos and the speech eye, huge gazing, as you float away. Part 5, bridge to the finale note from recent drafting. We are force-fed the use of force from very young. There's absolutely no voluntary place you could choose to just go if you need to escape from abuse or danger. That's why I am inventing the monastery, a free open source idea for voluntary, cooperative, peaceful social contract. My business, as it were. My business is people's well-being, voluntarily. I want to live in a society where we create work one purchase at a time, where individuals make their own decisions and no bloated, broken monarchy machine holds dominance over people's basic family/neighborhood well-being and their children's growth. Representative government is completely obsolete. Voluntary well-being is the mark of a free society. Forced infringement on our wellness is the indicator of a society run by the criminal, who is the ruler, jailing or killing all who oppose the rule. Money's purpose is allowing us to circulate what's produced, blood that must flow. Dan Price has proven, among others, with his $70,000 a year minimum wage throughout his whole company, with payroll data, that using money to circulate what's been produced as lifeblood is the successful way. Now all we need to do is decentralize income so that all corporate entities seeking to employ people will have their work created by democratic purchase voting. Okay, now we're on the finale note. Pulling up my notes for that. I've got a night walk sound here. We're going to attempt to just play behind it. It's just the relaxing sounds. Let's see if we can get this working during the narration. Okay, this is the night walk audio sequel. First one I tried to do failed to stream. Should have just hit this record button in the first place with the cognizance that it was going to become a stream later when I got back to daytime cave time, but didn't think to do that because I was in the creative flow. not sure how best to set this mix up, so I'm putting it slightly lower than my voice. And we'll try to keep the volume consistent here. You can really hear the fact that I'm walking. Input, individual decision funding. Output, wealth corresponding to the real individual's preferred or desired way of being, whose value transcends the capability of the symbolic. It transcends the limitation of numeric currency, which merely represents wealth during the transaction between purchaser and provider. This is not anti-capitalism. It's liberation capitalism, fueled entirely by the core valuation on the voluntary actions of its citizens. In voluntary economics, civic integrity is measured or demonstrated by the diversity or variety of activities that define the institutions that operate visibly. Success measured, as it were, in actual health, not dollars. The commerce seen when diverse populations reach well-being is analogous to plant life. All of its available color and variety becomes seen if ideal conditions are sustained. In the film Idiocracy, the central parable is they don't understand what plants need. In the present-day society, we don't understand what any living thing needs. The use of force is pervasive. Creating work one purchase at a time, where individuals make spending decisions from the floor, decentralized income, emerges a society where all forms of work are actualized, revealing the true productivity. Emergent wealth displays gains of every type, separate from monetary expressions of value. The monastery school is simply an idea of a business which displays its success in the form of students with excellent mental health and creative activity. The monastery school is simply an idea of a business or an education startup which displays its success in the form of students with excellent mental health and creative activity. You can substitute the word students with citizens because anybody is invited and everybody is invited. The marker grade for its performance, for any student's performance or any human being's performance, cannot be written as a score or grade letter or dollar amount. It can only be expressed with the joy or productivity that comes directly from each student's individual will, what they want, the way they like doing things. So when I describe the peace-waging social contract, I'm defining wealth unlocked from the illusions about it in the defective, centralized income capitalism, what we have now. Peace wealth is the real well-being brought by innovations, which have won the contest of reducing harm, causing mainstream adoption and imitation. The innovation which brings us here, scaffolding as it were, is electronic communication, upgraded from horse-carried handwritten letters. The innovation which brings us peace wealth is decentralizing income, to put valuation on voluntary behavior and discourage coercion and harm. That is why I named my monk education political platform and blueprint Harm Reduction. Now I have a finale note, which occurred in the height of these feelings of viewing what my stream looks like. Education message. We will not be driven into unwellness. We will rise in well-being. In human contact, we wage peace. How do we wage peace? We teach creative peace. We practice peaceful craft. Okay, that's the end of the Minecraft session. I feel like I might have accidentally just enabled a desktop sound instead of capturing some part of my commentary a minute ago, but it couldn't have been an important part because I was just playing the rest of the Night Walk as an interlude, and then yeah, I switched back to the other screen after I was done narrating the script, and then I noticed that the desktop audio was enabled on it in the position that I have the mic down here in the third slot on the audio screen. This one right here. It says desktop on the other tab, so the audio had been doubled up. It'll probably sound pretty cool. I don't know, I might have to cut it out. But we missed some 3 seconds of me saying something, I don't remember even. I'm just going to attempt to level to 70 here on my new off-season Necromancer for relaxation.
But it's dead money to me. They take my head up on offer. I'll always speak what I mean.
Illusion that it's not a series of frames, but it's a single frame moving. For getting people to realize what it is to be here and now. And to see that this is what's important. Whenever you get into the meditative state, by whatever means you get in, you suddenly understand that the whole point of life is what you're doing, where you are. And this results in a kind of untightening of all your muscles. And you suddenly see that it really is worth looking around. That the chips of wood on the log, the funny markings on the concrete, the expressions and gestures of people sitting around are what it's all about. And